Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another wonderful episode of House of Moody Vintage podcast. I am your host and the only guy that actually blabs on this podcast. I don't know where I'm getting this energy from. Today was not a good day. Okay, I don't know what it was, the combination of food that I had yesterday, or maybe the marijuana that was inhaled. A lot of crazy combo of things. So upset stomach, which is kind of weird. Yesterday, it's one of the reasons why this episode didn't come out yesterday. I didn't record the podcast yesterday was, I had a little reunion, with my, Bangkok mains. The crew, the squad is almost complete. We just have one member or one or two members missing here. But so glad to see, and I just wanted to go see my babies, my babies, and it was just so nice to. It felt normal, and they were gone for a couple of months. It felt like forever, but I just strapped my boots on and just kept walking forward. But it was so nice. It was so nice to just like. It just felt normal, and I've been stressed. I'm like, like I mentioned earlier in an earlier episode, I've been stupid stressed, just internalizing, just really dumb stress. And so the past couple of outings that I've had, which technically isn't really outings because it's going to my friends' homes and just chilling, man. Either sharing a bottle of or two of wine, or rolling up a joint, you know what I mean? And having some really, really good food. But I don't think my stomach appreciated me for that. My stomach was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're not 17 anymore. It was, it's 20 years difference, and it hits you, right? I know a lot of my older listeners here, which is probably a good majority of you, even though I get like 12 to 15 listeners or watchers, on YouTube. Very interesting. It's very interesting how some actually more people would rather hear and listen or watch me on YouTube than actually on, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But anyways, that's my form of reaching out to you guys. But I appreciate that you guys, I love that you guys appreciate my content and my blabberness on YouTube. Okay. Because, before all this podcast thing, all that stuff, YouTube was the thing, right? I used to create YouTube content, ever since I could remember, even before there was a YouTube. So a long time. I have a funny, really quick, story about that in a bit, but, so yesterday, was just exactly that, was just a little bit more of the, I need to just turn things down, notch it down, and just go out. And even though I did have some work, work never, I shouldn't say never stops, but it's not that often where I get a sort of a day off. So even though there was work yesterday, still went over, hung out, had a good time, great time. It felt normal, and it felt like this is how it should be. You know what I mean? This is how it should be, and that's exactly how it felt. And I'm just blessed, and I'm just really grateful to have the people in my life, and for them to be this close, literally like physically, which is a big deal, when you are searching for, companionship or friendship or whatever it is, right? That kind of softens the blow of not having a girlfriend, or not being in a relationship, not having a significant other. That's just my personal, thought and, feeling. Everyone's different, of course. But even then, I'm just used to living alone anyway, so not big of an issue. My father is still baffled. He keeps asking me, he's like, how are you doing this? You're living alone, da da da. And I'm like, bruh, I'm used to it. Even I virtually grew up alone, if you really think about it. Growing up in California, and then of course spending my adult years in Bangladesh and Dhaka, and I'd go out. Yes, I have friends. I have very close friends. Yes, I had, I'd go to the office and, back and forth, or, when I was in my school days, had school, I was very, very active outdoor, with my friends. But at the end of the day, when you're not with your friends, which is probably most of the time, right? You're doing something, but you're not spending the entire day, every day with your friends. I mean, yes, there's a good chunk of time that you spend with them, proper quality time with them. But even then, virtually for me, I was alone. I didn't have siblings, and I think single kids would understand that, especially single kids who are not spoiled. Okay, that is a myth. Not all single kids are spoiled. My parents raised me right and whooped my ass and kept me humble. So I'm just really blessed to have that, because a lot of people don't have that support, unfortunately, and it's much more difficult for them. Of course, they may have acquaintances, friends, coworkers as friends, whatever, but it's not, you really don't build that strong bond with someone that you have with people that you've known all your life, or someone that you've probably known that you grew up with, so on and so on. So that's why it was it made sense to me to skip out on the recording the podcast yesterday, but even though last weekend did it on Wednesday because of the Golden Globes and the results of that, and so now it's it's still within a week. I don't want to fall off schedule. I want to keep myself disciplined in that sense. So on we go with the podcast here. Well, I mean, I've blabbered for about 6 minutes now, 6.5 minutes, or 7 minutes. I don't know. I've lost track. Again, just really going back to how I started, I don't know where I'm getting this energy from, because today was not a good day in the sense health-wise. I don't know what came over me. I don't know, it was kind of food bug, which is weird because my friend Anita, who just came back, who I was spending quality time with yesterday, she also, before coming back to Bangkok, she had a little, food poisoning, basically. Had a terrible fucking time. And now this morning, I did not wake up. My stomach, it was kind of weird. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, something she ate and I ate, or something she ate before. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm fine. I'm not like, dying, and I don't need meds. But I'm old. Yo, man, when y'all hit your 30s, and I know some of you already probably feeling it, you know what I mean? When you just got in your 30s, my little sis Sonia, she just turned 30. So she's going to be feeling it really, really good. When it comes to socializing, when you're trying to go out there and socialize with people, or you don't want to party or go to a club, you want to be home. You want to be home with your glass of wine, or 2 or 3, and hopefully luckily, if you have a significant other, you're spending time with them on the couch. And that is the evening for you. And as you get older, sometimes I feel like this is why when I deal with teenagers, when I deal with much younger, men and women, and they don't listen to your advice, and because you've been through it, and you're just telling them, hey, listen, this is going to go this way, that's not going to go that way, whatever. Everyone's different circumstances and situations are different, but the advice makes sense because number one, you've gone through it. Number two, you're the adults in your life when you were growing up said the same damn thing, but you didn't listen because you were a snot-nosed punk, thought you knew it all, right? We all been through that. A lot of us, and I mean a lot of us, which is kind of frightening, that a lot of us like to learn things the hard way. Guess what, children? Child? Let me tell you, child. Whatever you going through right now, I got all the advices. Okay? So when I tell you something, please adopt them. Practice them. Apply them. And you will be better for it. And we didn't listen to our parents. Because, we thought, oh, you guys are old, you don't know shit. We're going to be young forever, bro. Immortality. Which, of course, as now that we're adults, we're like, oh, we were dumb. We were fucking idiots as kids. Okay. And so as these kids, and when I say these kids, I mean generally, not obviously, not all kids are like this. Not all of us are like this when we were younger, but most of us. I mean, it's a huge chunk of people who, growing up, we were dumb as fuck, and we thought we are untouchable. We thought our parents were untouchable. Like, oh, they're not gonna die, they're not gonna go anywhere. And then reality slaps you in the face. You're like, oh shit. Okay, maybe that's not how life is, and you get a rude awakening. This morning was one of those rude awakenings. I Just for a slight moment, I forgot that I was 37 turning 38, okay? I turned 38 next month. Am I freaking out? No, because I don't look fucking 38. I look fucking hot. I look sexy and young, okay? That's why I'm a little shocked right now why I have this energy to do this podcast, because the entire goddamn day my lower back was hurting like an old man. It's still hurting, kinda. But in the morning, oh my God, I had like this weird feverish pitch kind of thing going on in my body, and I literally took a nap for like an hour. I don't take naps. Really, I don't take naps. I avoid it because it just fucks up my sleep schedule. I try to go to sleep. I mean, we old now. I'm old now, so like right now it's 8:30. I'm getting a little drowsy. You may not be able to see it on the YouTubes here, but or even hear it. But I'm getting drowsy right now. I'm about to call it quits. But got to wrap this thing up, of course, and publish it for all of you guys to listen to and relate to. And it's hard. I'm struggling right now. I still got some work to do that I don't want to fucking do. It's one of those days. It is one of those days. But I'll tell you what, though. Instead of those silly ass days, okay, there's also some positivity, okay? Because you know me, I'm a freaking cinephile. So there's obviously, the return of some shows, some new shows, and as you can tell, this is the entertainment segment of the movies and TV show segment of the podcast. While I was basically I wasn't bitching, I wasn't venting. It was just me being old, you know what I'm saying? Old heads, they be complaining and shit like dummies. Because we old, and we like to talk about, broken bodies and, comfortable mattresses and bed sheets and thread counts. Anyway, so season 2 of Valhalla came out, which, of course, I just streamed and just binged, which you can do nowadays, which was nice. It was nice. Season 2 of Valhalla, which is, of course, a spinoff of Vikings, which started off on the History Channel and then went to Netflix. And then, it's I think it's a better season than the first season. I don't know. I don't know where they're going next, in season 3, where they're going to take this. It's not as good as the original Vikings, the original show that was on History Channel, which was a huge hit, of course, with Travis Fimmel as the main character, as Ragnar Lothbrok, who I fucking miss. Oh, God, ever since he left the damn show. He had to die. His character had to die, Hunters season 2, it kind of went under the radar. It kind of. Usually, you'll see it on social media, on Twitter or Instagram, and my usual, entertainment sources or whatever. And, it usually gets fanfare. But the thing is, Hunter season 1 came out a while back. And unfortunately, because of COVID and stuff, production for a lot of shows had to be halted and delayed. And this was one of them. Hunters was delayed. But anyway, season 2 just came out. And that's on, of course, Amazon Prime Video. Check that out. Servant on Apple TV Plus. Season 4 is out. It's just getting weirder. Okay. Because, it's a horror show. And it's very strange. But the performances, again, it's fantastic. The direction, I think what stands out in that show and in the show Servant is that direction is unbelievable. And because it's so uneasy, it makes you so uneasy, very awkward at times, and I wouldn't say not as like frighteningly scary. It just makes you very uncomfortable, which I guess is a fear in its own right. So that's fantastic. And then, of course, we have, now this is not my recommendation of the week, that I will discuss in a bit, but this is going to be our sort of like weekly recap of HBO's The Last of Us. Okay. I know. If you haven't seen it already, what are you doing? Okay, what are you doing? It already broke records. An HBO record. I think it's the second most watched pilot episode or debut on HBO. Second most behind, I think, House of the Dragon. I believe that's what the record was. So it's a huge hit, and that goes to say that it's not because it is it's an adaptation. It's a video game adaptation. For those who don't know, The Last of Us came out on PlayStation, Sony PlayStation, and of course there's a sequel to it too, which is crazy. I've never played it. I don't know why, because I loved the first game so fucking much. So yeah, it's based on that game, and so it's getting approval ratings by not only by critics but also people who've played the game, and I just wanted to quickly reiterate what Christian Harloff, one of my favorite movie pundits and comedians, really, he's a funny dude. He said on his YouTube channel, that a lot of the studios felt like, well, doing a shot for shot, which by the way, there's a lot of straight out of the video game shots in this episode, in the pilot episode, but it's not, the entire episode is not shot, shot by shot. So don't worry about that. So the adaptation part, going back to what Christian Harloff said, a lot of studios think that, well, we can't do the same story and put it on, on TV or on the big screen or whatever. It's just going to be repetitive. Well, studios don't understand that. Just the thing is, there is only a certain amount of video gamers. Okay. A lot of people play video games. Some are legit hardcore gamers. Some are casual gamers, and some of them didn't even know The Last of Us existed, even if they played video games. I know that's it's rare. It could be a small percentage, but when you're talking about trying to get a project out in the on a streaming platform or on the big screen or whatever, they need to understand, these studios need to understand that you can be very you can be very not respectful. What's the fucking word? Oh my God, I'm having not respectful. When you're true to the source material, right? Especially when it comes to a video game, the Last of Us video game was so well made. You could not play the game and go on YouTube. They have a bunch of channels that have walkthroughs of video games from literally the first minute to last, or there's just videos where it's just the cutscenes, where it's just cinematics. You can skip the actual gameplay and watch the entire story. And so The Last of Us itself, the game itself, it felt like a film. It was one of those video games that delivered on the storytelling, and you felt like you were in a movie. You felt like this that you were part of the story, that you were Joel or Ellie, of course. And I'm just gonna double check. I want to know if the ratings have changed for The Last of Us here. I'm gonna really just quickly check The Last of Us, and then get back onto the the performances and the cast. Of course, it's fantastic. Yeah, look. Oh wow. Okay, Jesus. Critics rating right now is 99%. 99%. The reason for that, and the average audience score is 96%. There's various reasons, but the reason for this particular one is because HBO was so confident in The Last of Us, they provided critics the entire season. So critics have seen the whole freaking season, and then that's why they were able to provide a thorough review of the whole thing, of the whole season, first season of The Last of Us, and that's why you have a 99% approval rating, which is it's crazy. Now for me, what I had said on on Instagram was that As much as I loved the pilot episode, I still wanted to reserve judgment. I didn't want to. I wanted to see where it was going, because the thing is, I'm gonna be a little harsher because I love the game so much. I love the video game so much, and so I'm going to be, just a bit more critical when it comes to certain things about the TV show, because obviously we've already seen it in the video games. But they're so good. They were so true to the source material, again, like I said. And there are a lot of comparisons of similar shots that you will see in the show that was in the video game. They just executed it so damn well. So some of it, the actors, obviously, it's kind of like a cheat sheet. It is kind of like a cheat sheet, but you still have to, you're not in motion capture, right? Like the motion capture actors were for the video game. You're not doing the voiceover or whatever. Well, of course, they do dubbing post-production anyway, but dubbing is not post-production. Dubbing is not post-production. It's been shot, but then you go back in for dubbing and stuff like that, and then post-production. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Apologies. So, when you have someone like Pedro Pascal, who's playing Joel, who I think he makes a fantastic Joel. In fact, I would prefer him over the voice actor and the motion capture actor. Yeah, so I would just, no lie. I'm not. That's how good Pedro Pascal is that I would prefer him over the voice actor for the video game, or the motion capture actor in the video game as well, who was fantastic, by the way. His name escapes my mind at the moment. Apologies. But, Neil Druckmann, of course, who, and Craig Mazin. Is it Mazin or Mazin? I think it's Matzin. Craig Mazin. Of course, of HBO's Chernobyl. The showrunners, and Neil Druckmann, of course, from the video game. And it's just, it's just brilliant, Nick Offerman's in this show, which we haven't seen yet, of course. Gabriel Luna plays as Tommy, Joel's brother. Ellie, of course, is played by Bella Ramsey, who is, of course, an alumni member of the Game of Thrones. She played Lyanna Mormont, House Mormont. So yeah, I'm just very excited to see where this goes next. I don't need to recommend this. You should be watching it. But I also want to, I want to check out the next episodes, episode 2, 3, whatever, to actually come up with, if I actually do agree with the critics. I obviously, at the moment, I feel like I'm going to agree with the critics. Listen, the show is brilliant. Again, from what we've seen so far, the regular audience, the average audience, we've only seen one episode, but what we've seen so far, and people, of course, who are, who love the game, who played the game, I think it's safe to say that we all agree that it's the best video game adaptation, film or TV show that we've seen in the history of motion pictures or filmmaking, the whole filmmaking process. So it's brilliant. And was one thing I wanted to talk about in The Last of Us. But yeah, and we talked about the performances. Right. Bella Ramsey as Ellie. It took a bit for me personally. I had to get it out of my head that this isn't Ashley, the actress that did the motion capture for the game. She's an adult, okay, who played a teenager. But yeah, it was difficult because I had to sort of get that Lyanna Mormont Game of Thrones stuff out of my head. This is Bella Ramsey playing a different character. This is Ellie, and once I just sort of went back, rewound in my head that, okay, you know what? Yeah, I was. It was unavoidable for me personally. It wasn't jarring, or it didn't take me out of the scenes or whatever. I just really had to get that Game of Thrones thing out of my head because she played such a fantastic Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones. So, but I'm glad it's she's taking on this role as Ellie, and Bella Ramsey is a little older than the character she's playing, but she obviously looks like a teenager, so that's definitely plays to her strengths. Anyways, Pedro Pascal as Joel Miller, as Joel, he's fantastic. Also, the Nico Parker, who played Sarah Miller, who plays Joel's daughter. She's in, I think it says here that she's in 2 episodes, so I'm guessing there's going to be more flashbacks. But in the first episode, Nico Parker is so fantastic. I'm so bummed out. It's one of those like first half of the season, House of the Dragon, where you were so impressed by the younger actresses, before the older actresses came in and just blew us out of the water. It was like it's one of those moments for me for this episode 1, because I know no spoilers here, but you'll know why she doesn't. I think I just gave it away. Show up later. But what am I spoiling? You guys should be watching this anyway. So Nico Parker is such a fantastic actress. And her chemistry with Pedro Pascal was just great. It was so believable, and she's so good as Sarah in the TV show. And I'm just so bummed out. But it's definitely, she said for me, she was a scene stealer, and it sucks that you're not going to be able to. It sucks that she's not Ellie. Going forward, but again, Bella Ramsey's fantastic. I would just love to see more of Nico Parker, in more roles. Really, I think she's a fantastic young up and coming. She's very young, young talent, and you really want to see that, just like we experienced in the first half of House of the Dragon, right? So So anyways, so that wraps up the Last of Us weekly review. It's fantastic. And now, sorry, it's like my brain is sort of like it's about to like shut down. So, which is good because, I'm about to wrap it up here, recommendation of the week is Netflix Breakpoint. I keep on saying Breaking Point, or, it's not Point Break, like Keanu Reeves. Whoa, Point Break? Oh no, it's called Breakpoint. It's about tennis. Sorry, that was my very loose impression of Keanu Reeves. Breakpoint. Again, it's from the creators of Drive to Survive. For a lot of you who weren't into F1, I'm sure you are into F1 now. Season 5 is coming up really soon, by the way, of Drive to Survive. So all you F1 fans, all you sports fans, even if you don't watch sports, and you were probably one of those who wasn't really interested in race car driving or any kind of sport, and you started watching it because everyone's making a buzz out of it. You're like, oh my god, I love the drama. These guys are fucking divas. I love it. Team Ferrari, Team Mercedes. Hey, my boy Danny Rick, man, he's not gonna be driving next season. I'm sad. Anyways, so. Same creators. Breakpoint, of course, is all about the tennis stars of the world. These self-centered, selfish, egotistical tennis stars. You have to be. The reason, and this is something I wanted to point out, is that these docuseries that are coming out for Netflix these are all individual sports. They're not team sports. I mean, yes, you can play doubles in tennis. Yes, you can team up in golf and things like that. The golf docuseries is also coming out. Wow, why did I deliver it like that? That was weird. The golf, I forgot what it was called. I forgot what the title was called. Anyways, that docuseries is also coming out by Netflix. So Netflix is creating this universe of these sports docuseries, and so these what makes it so dramatic and so entertaining is that these are individual sports, right? Yes, you quote unquote have teams, but at the end of the day, ultimately, you are going in these tournaments, you're going in these competitions, and you want to see who is the best, who is number one at the end of the season, who's the top guy. Or if you're talking about tennis, it's tournament by tournament, everyone else loses, and they actually mentioned this a couple of times in the show where the players will say, or players said, I remember which player it was, but where she said, listen, tennis is only really the only sport, or one of those sports where everyone loses except for that guy or girl who wins the tournament. It's a knockout tournament, right? So in every round, a player gets knocked out and you progress and so on, right? Every tournament is like that. So again, and she's right. Ultimately, that's what it is. There's only one winner, regardless of how many tournaments you you take part in. And some wild characters in there. You really get to know a lot of these characters, a lot of these players, really how their minds work and how tennis players live their lives and so on. I think it was fantastic. And they go through 4 Grand Slams. So basically what they did, I think what Netflix did was they split the series into 2. So season 1, it really only covers the opening Grand Slam, which is the opening of the tennis calendar of the season, which is an Australian Open, which is one of the 4 Grand Slams. Then they go to the second one is Roland Garros, which is, of course, in the French Open, basically. So those 2. And then, of course, at the end, you get to the U.S. Open and Wimbledon. Well, you go in Wimbledon and then U.S. Open. Anyways, so I think second part or second half of season 1, I don't know how they're going to label it, but the latter episodes are going to cover Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, and that'll be basically the 2022's tennis calendar just wrapped up, because 2023 season just started, and Rafael Nadal, who is basically they dedicated an entire episode of to him in the first half of the series. He got knocked out yesterday, I think it was, in the second round, which is crazy. Anyways, I mean he's still the world number 2, and listen, you're gonna love these guys. You're gonna love the drama. You're gonna start rooting for some of them. You know what I mean? Like because you really, they just do it so well. And sports documentaries and docuseries is nothing new. It's been around for decades, okay? ESPN's famous for it. HBO as well. So, or even other, third-party studios, independent studios, and so on and so on. So, sports documentaries are not new, okay? It's been there forever. It's been there for quite some time. But what makes this different, what makes Drive to Survive different, and Breakpoint different, and the other ones that are coming out soon, I think there's a Tour de France one coming out, as well as I guess they did one for the World Cup, just this past World Cup. So the thing about what Netflix does here, and when I say Netflix, I mean the people who are actually hired to, take on this project and bring it to fruition. They're just really fucking brilliant at storytelling. And that's exactly what this is. It's storytelling. Storytelling is what's selling this. Storytelling is what's bringing these eyes to this streaming platform. People who had no clue what F1 was started watching this, and now they've become fans. I have friends like that. I've been a fan. I obviously grew up playing sports and watching sports, so it's a big part of my life. But F1, my favorite driver of all time is Michael Schumacher. So it was just really cool to see people I know, whether it's my friends or acquaintances or whatever, they were not only just hooked to the series, the docuseries, but they really got into the sport. They started watching the sport, and I was like, this is fucking cool, and I want to see more of that. And I think once you watch Breakpoint, I think you're going to pay a little bit more attention to tennis if you haven't already. You can do the same thing with golf. I'm telling you, I love golf. I really do. I just wish I was just a bit more in touch of, just in tune what's going on, like I do with, football and American football and basketball. Because I grew up sports. I grew up with sports, and it's a huge part of my life and who I am. So I just want to, get back into that. I was an avid watcher of tennis and so on and so on. So it's just one of those reminders of how important sports is and how impactful it is for the youth, especially, and it's just a positive, force for people. Anyway, so that is my recommendation of the week. Hope you guys check that out. If you haven't checked it already, I highly recommend it. If like I said on Instagram, if you are a fan of Drive to Survive, I mean, I'm gonna say less. You're gonna check this one out. Thank you for listening in, guys. Whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you're watching this on YouTube. I apologize to you and myself because I really wanted to bring a different type of energy to this episode, but it was basically an old guy talking about how his body aches. But thank God for Netflix or HBO and all these streaming platforms and movies and theaters. And I haven't been in the theaters in a very long time. Well, that's right. I'm broke. Anyways, so that hasn't changed, ladies and gentlemen. That status hasn't changed. I'm still stressed out. Anyways, but I'm grateful to just talk. I wanted to keep it disciplined. Don't miss a week. Keep the podcast the only constant in my life besides breathing. So thank God for that. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and going into the weekend, hope I just have a blast. I'm trying to relax. It's very hard, very, very hard. It's taxing on my body now. It's getting to me. I need to press stop. Something's wrong. But until next week, please take care of yourselves. Treat yourselves. And yeah, just be in the moment. Just be, the beautiful experience of just being, even though you're going through some rough ass shit right now, like I am. All right. I'll see y'all next time. And I'm out here. I'm out of here. Peace.